Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing a breakdown of my monthly income for the month of April. Now, if you're new to the channel, all of this income comes from option selling, and hopefully one day it's going to be my main source of income. Now, the nice thing about option selling is outside of a few hours a week for researching and managing the positions in the account, it's a relatively passive income source for me. And it's very quickly growing to be one of my main sources of income. So hopefully it can replace my job here in the next year or two, and I'm really looking forward to that. Now, for those of you wondering, I do all of this from TD Ameritrade's Thinkorswim platform, and that's only because I find it's the best for what I like to do. It also gives you the ability to get a portfolio margin account, so if you ever want to use a little bit of extra leverage in the account, then Thinkorswim is one way to do it. Now, before we get to the income, let's go ahead and look at this little graph of my account for the past month. Looking here, we can see that I started the month with $134,825 in equity, and I ended the month with $148,335. Now that's a monthly gain in the account of $13,500, and unfortunately that's not all from option selling, otherwise that would be amazing. Most of it, about 2/3 of it, came from my long-term holdings, so stock and ETFs, and the remaining third was from option selling. Now personally speaking, I still like to have a large portion of my account invested in equities, with only a small portion being allocated to option selling. That's just really what I'm comfortable with. But enough of that, let's go ahead and break down the income for the month of April. First off, you can see that I sold 2 puts against AMD. I sold the $73 puts and I pulled in $168.88 in income. Next up, I sold 1 Amazon put spread. I sold the 3465 by 3460 put spread and I pulled in $232.85. Now this one was a fun one. It was actually just an earnings play, which I really don't do very often, but I actually had this on for less than 10 hours or so. I put it on about 5 minutes before market close on Thursday and then took it off pretty much right at the open on Friday. And it worked out in this case. I would honestly tell you earnings are pretty much 50-50, so I don't really do it that often. And also looking at this one, we can very quickly see that this could have gone against me. In this case, right after Amazon announced earnings, they popped $200. And by the end of the day Friday, they had sold off all the way back down to what they closed at the previous Thursday, so it was not that great. And that's despite the fact that Amazon announced amazing earnings. I honestly have no clue why they sold off so much. Next up, you can see that I sold 2 of the CCIV puts. I sold the $23 puts, and I actually closed those out for a $262.14 loss for this month. Now, despite realizing a loss on those CCIV puts, technically it's not a loss because I did roll them out till May, and that's rolling down and out. I actually rolled them down to the 22.5, so I put the probabilities back in my favor, and I pulled in another $1 credit. So hopefully by next month, I actually pull in about a $350 profit on those 2 puts, but we'll see what happens. Next up, you can see I sold 3 puts on Chewy, the $75 strike and the $73 strike. And in total, I closed those out for a profit of $258.34. Next up, I sold a coin put, really far out of the money. I sold the $255 put, but I pulled in $104.94. Next up, you can see I sold 4 Disney puts. I sold 2 of the 175s for April 30th, and I sold 1 of the 177.5s and 1 of the 172.5s, but that was for a total of $424.75. Now, my second loser for the month was Discovery. I sold the $40 puts and I bought those back for a $122.06 loss. But just like CCIV, I actually rolled that down and out. So instead of having the $40 puts for next month, I actually have the 37.5. So hopefully, again, I get to buy those back next month for a profit and make up for the loss for this month. Next, you can see I sold 1 of the 3M 180 puts and I bought that back for $124.94 profit. I also sold 2 of the Micron $85 puts and I bought those back for $166.91 profit. I also sold 5 Palantir or PLTR puts, all of differing strikes, and I pulled in a total of $372.74. That's another one that I like that's kind of on its lower end range, so I'm probably going to continue selling 4 or 5 each month and see how it goes. Next up, we've got the only covered call in the account. I actually sold 2 covered calls against RCL and pulled in a total of $442.88. Now in RCL, I actually originally just sold a $95 call, but then RCL sold off, so I ended up rolling it down but keeping it on the same expiration to pull in an additional credit, which is the only reason I was able to pull in over $400 for the month. RCL is also one of those that I'm not afraid to get called away, and in fact, I kind of hope I get called away because then I can use that $8,000 for something else. But it's been a nice income generator in the account, so we'll see what happens. Next up, I sold 3 rocket puts on different strikes and different expirations for the month, and I pulled in a total of $262.34 in income. Next, we've got the biggest winner in the account, which is Tesla. Just like on Royal Caribbean, I actually originally just sold the 560 puts, but then with Tesla running up, I actually rolled it up, kept it on the same strike to pull in an additional credit. and I ended up making a total of $1,932.86 from Tesla this month. Next up, I sold 2 puts against Viacom, and I pulled in a total of $171.88. And I also sold 2 puts against Vizio, and I pulled in $247.87. And then finally, my smallest position in the account, I sold a put against XLE, which is really just an ETF, the $46 strike, and I ended up making $68.94 on that one. Now adding that all up, that comes to a total of $4,670.27 in income for the month of April. Now I don't know if you watched my last video, but when I started this originally, I said that my main goal was to achieve about $2,500 in passive income per month. And so far I've nearly doubled this goal pretty much every month. So going forward, I'll be aiming for a 3% target each month of the overall portfolio value, so I'm definitely bumping that up quite a bit. To me, this is a pretty reasonable goal, and anything more than that, I'm taking undue risk in the account. Now that makes me more conservative than some of you guys out there and a lot more ambitious than others, but for my own personal risk tolerance, this is where I'm most comfortable. The only thing I wasn't a fan of for this month was how reliant I was on Tesla. I don't like that nearly 50% of my income for the month came from Tesla options. So going forward, I'm going to try and spread that out a bit, and hopefully it works out. If any of you guys out there actually found this helpful or at least entertaining in some way, please go ahead and hit that like button for me. And if you guys would like to stay up to date with this type of content, which is mainly focused on options trading, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. Now, I will tell you that these income videos are super helpful for me, just for accountability purposes, so I'm definitely going to continue with them going forward and putting them out at the end of each month. But I'm going to keep it short for today. We're going to go ahead and end it there, and I hope you guys all have a great week, and I hope to catch you guys all on the next one.